I don't like sonic.omt. I can't. I've tried. Before, before anyone, like, I know I made that infamous fucking Twitter reply that just kind of attacked people for no reason. I, I want to apologize to, I guess, mr.pixel for just kind of doing that, but I promise, like, I have reasons to dislike OMT besides just I don't like OMT. Like, that isn't a reason. You can't just say you don't like something because you just don't. I'm gonna keep that about as frank as I can. Like, I could acknowledge that Mr. Pixel is just one guy working on these games. He's got talent. I have never once really denied that. Mr. Pixel has some sort of untapped like talent in there. And of course, I personally wish him very well on stuff he will do in the future. Like Too Late is. I wasn't that big on the original Too Late, but the remake, the like the big update in development is looking great. Like it might actually be pretty good. That's kind of why I wanted to discuss sonic.omt and like why I'm not big on it, but I'm fine with Too Late. I think my problem with modern OMT, I guess. So I guess I don't know. Would it be starting with one more round or would it be one last? I don't know, but I think modern OMT is kind of trying too hard. I know. Fucking Beast character looks cool and all that. And I understand he does. It looks pretty cool, but you can see why a lot of people were very shocked to see that this kind of design was still tied to, of all things, sonic.exe. Like, like I don't know. You're probably wondering do like other exe designs are like kind of not really that it, but why is it that when we get something that's unique and something pretty neat, it's trying too hard? I i can't really tell you, but like it's just I feel like omt could be like if you showed that to somebody on the street, you couldn't get them to say that's even like Sonic adjacent, let alone Sonic.exe. Like, come on. Like, I feel like the thing with Sonic.exe, and I think the whole reason he had any kind of appeal to begin with, if even if it was like small or whatever, is that he was like it was somewhat recognizable, that like you could say, oh look, that's Sonic, but then like when you actually see what he does and like he turns around and he's evil, it's like, oh, that's not Sonic. But like you could say that like first form omt, like base ass omt, kind of does the same thing, and it's admirable. It's fine. It passes my personal check. But then you get to some of the more, I guess, laws. I don't know the word, but like get a little bit to the crazier forms, like the spider. I think there's like a wolf form in one game, but I don't exactly remember. I'll have to double check. But like those get a little crazier, but I think there's still a little bit of the blue guy in there. Like you could see kind of the head, I guess. But then you get to the ultra omega beast form in the recent one more time repixeled, and like I guess it has the Sonic spines, but you can't really tell otherwise that this is supposed to be somebody playing off of Sonic the Hedgehog. like Mr. L. Let me go back to Mr. L because that's another Pixel creation. And like, sure, I may not be that big on Mr. L's design. It's just kind of Luigi but lankier, but it still kind of gives off the same sort of. You can definitely tell this is Luigi, but something's a little bit wrong. Just a little bit wrong. But like with, like, I don't even know the name of the form. I'm just gonna call it Ultra Omega Beast OMT or something. Like, I guess, like, current final form OMT, like, it's really hard to convince somebody that that could be, like, Sonic or sonic.exe adjacent. I've heard comparisons to, like, Contra bosses and Symphony of the Night, and, like, that's cool and all, but at what point does it kind of stray a little too far away and, like, become something that's not really... I don't know, but I think another thing I want to discuss about, like, the new OMT stuff is the gameplay. Because I've seen people, like, consistently praise OMT for, like, wow, actual gameplay. But that shouldn't be praise in of itself. A game having gameplay is, well, last I checked anyways, like, the fucking norm, no? Like, you can't really just have a game with no gameplay, because that's not a fucking game at that point, right? Well, when you actually sit down and think about it, every Sonic.exe game has gameplay. But what people are talking about with actual gameplay is, like, you know, not just holding a single direction and letting things happen, because that's technically a game, but like, philosophically, it's not really a video game because you're not doing much. It'd be comparable to, like, holding the tape down on, like, a remote to fast forward, I guess. But the thing with the OMT games, I guess the recent one, I should really stop saying the games because I haven't played them in, let's be honest, I can't say a while ago, but it was long enough ago to where I've kind of forgotten most about them. So, like, allow me to explain, okay? So, after the first part with Tails, you go to, like, the hide and seek level, right? Like, the hide and seek level. No, it's the level before the hide and seek level. You get, like, I think 100 or so rings that drain, like, every second. And, like, you think, oh, you just get to the end in, like, 100 seconds, right? Like, that's not difficult. And not if it's that long. And truthfully, like, when you actually see good gameplay of that segment, you have more than enough rings to spare to get to the end. That's not really, like, my problem, I guess. Because I guess in a similar twist of fate to, you know, Too Late, the original Too Late, not the remake, because I don't know anything about that. I just know it looks good, but that's it. A lot of the obstacles, like the pits. The pits are not the pits. That was in Too Late. The flower things that will hurt you, and you know, they kind of look like baits with the rings. To be honest, with the way the effects were going and, like, I guess the general design of the plant, it made me think it was like a background element. And so even if, like, I knew, okay, after the first time I really shouldn't be doing that, I should actually avoid it, I still kind of ended up getting hit because it's still not incredibly obvious to me, like, that these things are the foreground elements that can actually hurt you and end your run. Because, like, they kind of blend in way too much with the background for me. I honestly, you could blame me for this because I don't have my glasses on, but I can see about the same amount between both having them on and not, so I think I'm okay. But then there's also, like, the water that drains your rings, like, really, really fast, and I think it's also the fact that, like, I kind of end up fighting the physics engine a lot. Now, I've said this a lot like over the past few days, but I think, excuse me, sorry. Um, what I've been saying is that even if a framework for the game, like Not So Simple Sonic Worlds, the one that the OMT games uses, like even if that's not incredible, it's not great, you can, if you know what you're doing as a game developer, you can work around the limitations and, all the faults, and, still deliver a good experience. Let me say this, because the original version of Not So Simple Sonic Worlds, like the original Sonic Worlds, and I guess the Delta version that I've seen a couple people use, those brought us some like excellent fan games like before and after the sequel, which I still think are really good. But the same engines also brought us Sonic 3D and 2D, one of, if not the worst 2D Sonic experiences I've ever had, but we're not talking about that. Conversely, I've seen Not So Simple give me an okay time. Especially, even in the realm of EXE stuff, like, Spirits of Hell, I think, is actually okay. It's not the best thing ever, but I think compared to, like, the Nightmare series and even some of the early OMT stuff, I actually think it's pretty good. And I believe an older version of the engine, I think a World's Delta-esque kind of thing is used for the sequel. I don't know why they downgraded engines, but I've heard good things about it. It looks fine. So that proves that, like, even if the engine's not exactly well revered nowadays, it can still deliver a good experience. Unfortunately, I can't really say the same for the OMT games. I guess, obviously, including the more recent ones, because, well, I can't keep saying the OMT games, because the other ones don't exactly reflect mr.pixel's modern quality. But, good God, I still end up kind of fighting the physics because of the way Not So Simple handles collision detection and other things. And, like, overall, I think that if Mr. Pixel knew what he was doing, he could maybe change how the whole game, maybe he could make more, what's the word, I guess program compatible collision detection, because I think that overall I don't exactly find I guess I could just say OMT repixeled. I guess I could just say repixeled because there's only one game called that. I don't really find Repixel that fun to play. The hide and seek section, it's a little boring because there's a whole lot of waiting, which I understand. Like, it's not, I can't keep expecting Sonic philosophies out of an EXE game because I guess I'm looking in the wrong place. But good God, man, this Sonic.exe is still a platformer at heart, right? I don't know a lot of platformers with stealth sections like OMT of all games. Like I get it. Platformers can have sections like this. 2D ones, I mean. 3D ones have stealth sections. Like the Family Guy game has one. Or no, would the Family Guy game be more like a beat 'em up? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I just don't really find it that engaging to look at. Like, it doesn't look fun to play. It isn't that fun to play, and overall, like, I still think OMT's got a ways to go. Like, even if it's gotten better since the first game, I don't think... I still think OMT has a lot of room to, grow and actually do well. And I'm aware that, my complaint of the designs is going to fall on deaf ears because that's a personal preference kind of deal. And I know Mr. Pixel isn't going to bend over for me in particular because I'm pretty sure I'm on his shit list now. And I still want to apologize for being antagonistic on Twitter not towards you, but like I guess towards the game and the series, because what I said is not exactly wrong, I don't think, not to myself. It's just I said they were bad, but I said they all kind of repeat the same thing. I can say the first two OMT games, those are those are very parallel. Like if you played them back to back, like I remember doing, you wouldn't really notice much of a difference because a lot of assets reused between the two and other things like that. But like I think one more round changes around the point where you can play the Sally.exe levels. My problem with the one more round is that it recycles the Sally.exe levels, but it still feels like a copy of Chanel in Sonic. Like you go through a lot of the same like set pieces, sort of, so to speak. Like Amy still dies in the special stage, Cream still dies on the bed of spikes, and I think Sally still dies through the wall crushing. And obviously, I understand that the older games, they still don't represent modern quality, but at the end of the day, like if the current best your series has to offer still isn't that great, I mean, you've learned, but have you learned enough? I don't know.